It is Monday, the 6th of May, 2024 at Protestia Studios. This is your intelligence briefing coming to you from Protestia.com, where you can go to find all of the latest in Christian polemics and discernment news. Subscribe to the Insurgency email blast and support us on Patreon over at patreon.com/Protestia. Let's get into the headlines. First headline at Protestia.com. The Chosen TV show is coming to Disney Plus and Hulu in major quote-unquote partnership when The Chosen director Dallas Jenkins isn't purposefully tweaking and antagonizing Christians by posting videos of his crew members wearing LGBTQ flags or insisting that he loves the same Jesus as his Mormon friends do, demonstrating again and again his false understanding of Jesus and the gospel. He is announcing new partnerships regarding his show, sharing that the first 3 seasons of The Chosen will soon be on Disney Plus and Hulu. This is a screenshot over here of Dallas Jenkins from Facebook saying, not exactly a partnership, but season 1 through 3 are getting to another new audience. According to Inside the Magic, which is a Disney, like a Disney blog, Disney following website, they say, from a crowd-funded indie darling to a multi-platform underdog story, The Chosen is easily one of the most successful and popular TV dramas on any network, including YouTube, Amazon, Apple TV. It makes total sense that both Disney and Hulu would want to capitalize on the show's massive and growing fan base, as the merger with Hulu brought together 2 massive collections of media. Disney claimed a massive portion of the current streaming audience. Whether this was done as an easy cash grab, a better way to market the already popular series, or somewhere in between, there's no doubt it will indeed have results. At the bottom of this article, we have links talking about Dallas Jenkins and his pretty messed up theology when you get right down to it, saying that Mormons are saved. He said, "I'm going to die on that hill," affirming Mormons as Christians in his, quote, definitive final video, so on and so forth. Head over to Protestia.com to read all of the latest about that. Next headline over at Protestia, ELCA calls anti-Israel encampments holy work and sends protesters food and resources. The only thing the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America hates more than sound doctrine is the country of Israel, demonstrated by their rabid fomenting at it every chance they get. The denomination recently revealed they were giving direct aid to the Hamas huggers at the University of Minnesota's pro-Palestine, anti-Israel encampment, encouraging others to do likewise all across college campuses, including the extra rowdy Columbia, for engaging in the, quote, holy work of protesting and looking for the divestment of funds from Israel. It's an unsurprising move from one of the world's wokest and most demonic denominations, who have made no secret of their Jew bias, or we might say their anti-Jew bias. This has been detailed, and we have multiple links in this article. But this is written from the ELCA's looks like, yeah, one of their Facebook pages, or one of their social media feeds, saying, "Today we dropped off lunch and talked with the students at the University of Minnesota encampment site. Here are some of their needs: food, phone bank chargers, D4 batteries, earplugs, flashlights. Reach out to your local encampments and support the students protesting for a ceasefire and divestment of funds." Now, you might wonder, what does divestment of funds mean? Some of these protesters are trying to pressure their universities, or maybe the retirement plans for their employees or something like that, from into divesting, that is not investing, pulling investments from any company or investment fund that's associated with Israel in any way. So, yeah, I guess their strategy is to do financial damage to the country of Israel, to the point where, they're going to stop trying to protect their citizens from terrorism. I'm not sure. These things are ridiculous, and they're ignorant. And I think we know that your average protester over here has little understanding of what they're actually protesting for. Anyway, read the rest of this over at Protestia.com. Next headline: Lutheran Seminary creates year-long, quote, queer confirmation curriculum for LGBTQ plus youth. Again, it is the ELCA. There is no bottom to their depravity, as you can find out by just searching for ELCA on Protestia. The Evangelical Lutheran Church of America is a simmering cauldron of blasphemy and Mephistophelian angst, to the point that sitting through an actual church service at one of their pagan temples is a foretaste of the hell that awaits them if they don't repent. Some of the denomination's greatest hits include, and you can read them here, Woke Church Newsletter invites congregants to help pay for abortions. ELCA recites blasphemous Sparkle Creed with the non-binary God whose pronouns are plural. ELCA head goes off on Jesus in sermon, calling Jesus mean, troubling, and a little racist. A pastorix says Jesus called Syrophoenician woman a blank, and Jesus screwed up, so on and so forth. I think you get the point. Links in here demonstrating with clarity and without a doubt how apostate and terrible and awful that denomination actually is. But if we scroll down here, you can see some of the topics that they're supposedly going to cover from a queer confirming perspective or something like that. It's just, I mean, I'd like to think this would be the bottom of the barrel as far as DEI and standpoint epistemology within supposedly Christian places, but the ELCA, I mean, they have yet to let us down with regard to being able to go another step down in depravity. But you can read this over at protestia.com. The project is being created because, quote, confirmation programs. And by the way, for those of you who are like me and you're a Baptist, a confirmation program confirmation is basically teaching newer, younger, believers or people coming into the faith. You confirm by working them through doctrine, through catechism and things like that. That to the best of your ability, you can confirm that they're actually a Christian. But this project here is saying that the confirmation programs and the ELCA apparently are not equally safe for all people. Queer teens, their faith and lives are precarious, and they're worried about LGBTQ unaliving themselves, they say. As such, queer confirmations, content, skill building, de-escalation, bystander training, yada, 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 and worship rituals fill some of the gap, they say, between precarity and resilience for queer youth. Hat tip to the Dissenter for this tip over at the Dissenter, how do you spell it? DISNTR.com. Great resource for polemics and discernment news as well. Next headline at Protestia.com. Caught on video. I couldn't believe this when I saw it. Pittsburgh man tries to murder pastor during church service, but the gun jams. Thank God. A pastor is thanking the Lord for his providence after a man entering the church pulled a gun on him, fired at him in the middle of a church service that was being live streamed. This is the video down here. Let's watch it real quick and see, and be thankful together that this did not go the way that it very well could have.
You were enemies to God. You were in a whole different kingdom.
So he's preaching something. I don't know what it is.
And God,
this guy walks up to the front, pulls the gun and tries to fire it, and either it did not have ammunition or it misfired or something. We're not sure which.
Jesus.
So he couldn't get it to fire, thank God. And other people now seeing this rush this young man who reportedly killed somebody at his home before heading over to the church. That's the news that we have heard so far. They run up here and tackle him, and obviously it's good that he didn't shoot anybody here. However, following the incident, it's this line here at the end. Following the incident, police went to the home of the perpetrator where they found a body that was fatally shot. The deceased is believed to be a family member of this would-be murderer of the preacher and apparent murderer of somebody at his house, who he murdered before the attempt on the pastor's life. We'll follow this and let you know if there's any additional information that we think you should be aware of. Next headline at Protestia.com. Need to Breathe. The band Need to Breathe partners with LGBTQ content manager for mutual promotion. Matt Lay, or Lee, depending on how he pronounces it, the owner and founder of Luxium Creative, a creative agency in Springfield, Missouri, a full-service studio. They offer a host of services, but specialize in photography, event coverage, video production, show content, social media, yada, yada, yada. The company has worked with many Christian groups, including Chad Veach, Arizona Christian University, and a ton of other churches, including Phoenix Living Streams Church and the Venues Church. They have done work for Christine Cain's Propel Women and have cut their teeth doing photography, videography, and show content for prominent Christian bands, including Zoe Worship, We the Kingdom, Casting Crowns, and Judah and the Lion. They've joined Elevation Worship, Hillsong Worship, and Carrie Job on their Outcry tour, and recently took on the role of content manager, photographer, and videographer for Need to Breathe, following them on the road for their, quote, Caves World Tour. Now, Need to Breathe, it depends who you ask, I guess. They don't want to be considered a quote-unquote Christian band, but apparently the band members are Christians themselves. They don't hide that. They don't run from it specifically, but they also would like to not be marketed and promoted specifically within Christian circles. Need to Breathe regularly tags them, that's the company, this company here, in their social media posts. Or it's possible that the company, this Luxium Creative, is posting on account of Need to Breathe and tagging themselves. We're not sure. I mean, who knows? The issue here, is that this open homosexual and his company claim to be Christian. And we've talked about this before. That really is the line that needs to be drawn with other professing Christians. There is a difference, a biblical difference, and we've talked about it before, between, say, walking into a coffee shop and buying a coffee, and then, and say the owners of the business are LGBTQ, but they're not claiming Christ. They're not claiming to be Christians. This is what we might call a mission field as believers. You're not going there to say that their lifestyle is okay in any way, but you might be going there to say that this cup of coffee is okay. I like this cup of coffee. I'm willing to trade you money for this cup of coffee. It doesn't mean that I have to sign on with everything you do or believe in your personal life. But when an LGBTQ run company or an LGBTQ entrepreneur is claiming Christ, that's where we run into a 1 Corinthians issue. We're not even to eat with such a one. This is very clear biblically, and so Christians in a band like Need to Breathe should know better. The Bible certainly teaches them better and how to know how to handle this sort of situation. You see it here in the article. His social media sites, this gentleman, are replete with pictures of the pride insignia and drag shows that he's attended, as well as words of love and affection for his fake quote-unquote husband. This is all being done under the auspices of being a professing Christian, while publicly he took a shot at his old church for trying to keep him from being his authentic LGBTQ self. This really is the problem, and this really is what brings shame on the name of Christ, is Christians seeing other unrepentant, sexually immoral people claiming Christ and yet still associating with them. Not biblically permissible. Read more about this over at protestia.com under the headline Need to Breathe Partners with LGBTQ Content Manager for mutual promotion. Next headline at Protestia: Prophet claims a crow shapeshifted into a naked man before his eyes, causing 50,000 Muslims to become Christians. I've seen this clip before. I think this has been out there for a little while, but this is Jerame, maybe that's how he pronounces it, Jerame Nelson, an author, evangelist, founder of the Elisha Revolution, and an inveterate liar, we might say, associated with the New Apostolic Reformation. He recently started his own church, which was, quote, birthed out of the fire and glory outpouring, where it... Okay. One memorable incident that showcases his unique approach to worship and prayer is when he introduced the concept of, you remember this, the Holy Ghost hokey pokey. We have an article link there to remind you if you don't remember what that was. But during a recent show with arch heretic enabler Sid Roth, Nelson claimed that he once led 50,000 Muslims to Christ after they watched him turn a crow in a tree into a man, which then fell out of the tree naked on account of actually being a shape-shifting witch doctor disguised as a bird. Of course, Sid Roth eats this up. And then, yeah, and plays along with it. Because unlike what Dr. Michael Brown claims about him, Sid Roth is a wicked and dishonest man who enjoys when Christ is mocked. Let's listen in. Maybe this is just a screenshot. I'm trying to press play on it, but yeah, it might be just a screenshot. I don't know. So we can't listen in. But there are links to this, links to the hokey pokey, links to the supposed fire and glory outpouring. If you want to learn more about this, head over to Protestia's Twitter account to actually watch the original video. Needless to say, some of us have reached out on social media to Michael Brown to say, under what standard can you possibly think that this is even potentially something from God? He won't have an answer. I'll skip to the end. I'll spoil it for you. Michael Brown will not have an answer to whether, by what standard he thinks this is or isn't from God. Next headline at Protestia, Tylock, Greg Locke's wife, pours a huge jug of oil over herself at a women's conference. Because why not? Showing the sad state of many women's conferences out there and what passes for meaningful teaching and experience, Pastrix Tylock speaking at Encounter the Glory Women's Conference alongside quote-unquote apostle Jenny Weaver and quote revivalist Krista Latham gives us a prime example of the decrepit and pitiful nature of many of these events. Many of the events. Ty is the spouse of controversial Global Vision Bible Church pastor Greg Locke, who became his partner in bad theology under ignoble and scandalous circumstances. There's a link here to catch up on that if you don't remember, but let's see if this video will work for us. Yeah, here it is. Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt that if the Locks did not find open arms in the insane deliverance, crazy charismatic wing of quote unquote Christianity, that they would be doing something else? I don't have any doubt that they would go sort of wherever they would accept it. But this is the insane Christ shaming, bringing ill repute on the name of Christ kind of things that are going on out there in quote-unquote deliverance ministry. We would condemn it in the strongest of terms. Even as we mock it from time to time, it really is a serious issue leading people astray. Read more about this over at protestia.com. Last headline for this intelligence briefing, megachurch pastor tries to give edgy illustration, then swiftly apologizes. This is unsurprisingly over at Church by the Glades. You can't go that long without finding a crazy, insane, blasphemous clip from Church by the Glades down in Florida. Megachurch pastors continue to steal Tony Campolo's call to evangelism, a move we recently saw when Perry Noble said it just a few weeks ago. I think it was Perry Noble. Yeah, unlike Noble and Campolo, however, not all pastors are willing to commit themselves wholly to the bit and use the original cuss word, such as when Church by the Glades pastor David Hughes tested it out last month in his Unbothered sermon series and then immediately apologized to the children for using such salty language. Hughes and his church are known for their extravagant attempts to keep their members entertained. In the past few months alone, they played a cover of Run DMC's sleazy and sexual song Walk This Way in church, performed Kendrick Lamar's N95, only a cleaned up and sanitized version, of course, where they removed the curse words, removed the racial epithets for sermon illustration, and did a Willy Wonka Christmas service. So let's see if we got. He said. No, that's the Tony Campolo quote, but there is a. Yeah, he said three things. This is what Hughes said. Three things. Number one, there's a huge number. 1.9 million people are facing eternity without Jesus. 2, a lot of you don't give a bleep about it. I know that's because you're way more bothered that I said the word bleep than I told you that almost 2 million people need Jesus. And kids, I apologize for the language. I'm just trying to make a don't you use that and blame that on me, right? I'm just trying to make a point. So no surprise there. I mean, it really is all about attention in these kind of movements and things like that. So. But if you want to know more about Perry Noble, about guys like him and David Hughes using the Tony Campolo playbook and other links to demonstrate how nefarious Church by the Glades is, we have that in the article as well over at protestia.com. Thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of the Intelligence Briefing for Monday, the 6th of May, 2024. Stay tuned to protestia.com for all of your latest in Christian polemics and discernment news. We'll see you again real soon. As always, Semper Reformanda.